everybody, how you doing? My name's Dave, and if you're recording this video for literally the 7th time, you can call me Daveypoo, the mobile music minstrel. How you doing? Man alive, I'm just having quite a day. So, I'm Jakob hacking it today. I'm doing the mirror setup, and I got a drink, nice somek for those of you Koreans out there. We're gonna dial back the usual Daveypoo intensity a little bit, and try this little slice of heaven again. So, thanks for joining me. Today I'm looking at DRC by Imaginando. Now, the nice folks at Imaginando reached out to me and said, "Hey Dave, we've watched your videos and we like your stuff, and would you like to try our stuff?" And I said, yes, of course. I'm always flattered when people reach out to me, and yes, absolutely, I would love to try your stuff. Thank you so much. And so I'm starting with DRC. Now, DRC's been out for quite a long time, and I played with this a long time ago because it's free to try, and I believe you have to purchase the unlock to use the full thing. But I didn't really connect with it back then, so I thought I'd start fresh today, and I thought we would do a sound design where I do what I do when I normally get a new synthesizer. Now, before I dive into all that, I just want to quickly say, please go check out daveypoo.bandcamp.com. I recently launched a Bandcamp page where I've posted 9 albums that I recorded over the last 20 years or so. And collecting all my music in one place, and I have a bunch of other releases that are coming soon, and they're all 100% free for you to download. So I know I talk about a lot of techniques here, and I'm instructing people on how to do things, and if you want to hear how I use all these tips and tricks and ideas in the music that I make, now you can check it out, and it's all free. It's a warts and all kind of a thing. Goes back to the very first demo I ever put out, but I hope you guys like it. I would love to know what you think. Please tell me what you think. daveypoo.bandcamp.com. But back to DRC. All right. So, when I get a new synthesizer, first thing I do is I make one of 2 patches, if not both. A GAO bass and a synth strings. And what that does is it gets to tell me, it shows off what's different about this new synthesizer than all the other synthesizers. I'm familiar with the synthesizer I already have, so now by recreating a patch I'm super familiar with on this new synth, it shows off the way it's different, the way the filter sounds on this one, the way the oscillators sound. So, I'm going to walk through that process with you. This is it's a 2 oscillator subtractive synth, and I've got a sawtooth on oscillator 1. DRC is laid out in 4 quadrants. You have the upper left with the oscillators, the upper right with the filter, the lower left with the mixer, and the lower right with the modifiers, the envelopes, the LFOs, that kind of thing. So I'm going to be jumping around. I've filmed this thing literally 7 times already, so if I'm a little, nutty today, bear with me. If I'm skipping around a bit, I'm forgetting which time I did which thing, so I appreciate your bearing with me being a bit ramshackle. All right, so we got this sawtooth going on. Oscillator 1. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to oscillator 2, and I'm going to bring that in. So I go to amp down on the bottom, bring up oscillator 2. I'm going to detune it by just a hair. Now I'm going to drop that and the first one down by an octave so we can make a bass. Now, okay, it's still polyphonic. I want to make this a monosynth. I want to sort of recreate a Moog bass. So I'm going to go over to performance here, and I'm going to go to mode and hit mono. If you notice in here, there's also unison, so you can get the super saw kind of sound if you want that. Or maybe do that later. And I'm going to turn the portamento on. That was about right, 64. And legato is going to be on. Now, one of the things that I've noticed with the legato mode especially is that when I'm playing, if for instance I play a C, and then I hold it and I play an E flat, what I've noticed, I don't know if you're hearing it clearly, I can try to illustrate it again later. When I pull, it doesn't trigger the envelope when I press the second note, but it does trigger when I pull off that second note. And that's an odd thing I've not been able to find a workaround for. So, Imaginando, if you have any suggestions, let me know. Anyway, I'll show that off later when I get there. So, let's do this. Okay. These are detuned. Let's bring in the sub. Let's bring that up. And bring it up an octave. All right. And let's add a little noise in here. And so now we're going to bring the cutoff down a little bit. Now, by default, envelope 1, as you can see down here, is automatically mapped to the amplifier. So up here, I got the amp section. I need to map the second envelope to the filter, which I do by just going here and throwing that all the way up. So let's go to envelope 2, and we're going to pull the decay down and the sustain down. Okay. So, oh, maybe now you can hear it. Hear that? When I pull off, it triggers the envelope. Anyway, not sure why that's happening. Now, I wanted to do one more thing. That's the chorus. Let's turn the chorus on. Keep the rate low. Feedback. Amp and turn down the gain. I can hear it distorting a little bit. Now, that's basically what I start with. Something in this arena, and I may spend a little more time. Maybe I won't I'll dial this back a little. I think the release has got to come up a little bit because I'm hearing a little pop when I pull off the note. Okay, well, there you go. My first impressions of this are, I don't really like this sort of vector graphic design. But that's not just Imaginando. That's just a personal thing for me. I resonate more with skeuomorphism. The Sugar Bytes apps, for instance, they turn a lot of people off. But for me, that gives me goosebumps. I love that kind of stuff. It makes me really happy. I didn't warm up to this initially just based on the visuals. But there's a lot to like under here. And I found that the visuals were appropriate, or the graphic design aesthetic was appropriate for this, because I feel like the sound, it reflects the way it sounds. For as clean and crisp and clear and straightforward as the visuals are, the sound is also that way. It's also very clear and crisp, and I would say like crystalline on the top end. Like when I turn down that noise, because it's just a little harsh there. Harsh isn't the right word. It's right on the edge. But there's fatness there, you know? There's wideness, you know? So you can get it to sound big, but it sounds more clean, like coming out of a shower, than it does like a Moog is like wrapping you in a blanket. And a dirty blanket at that sometimes. This is way more surgical. But there's youths there, and I think that that's appropriate for certain types of music. So, that's the first sound I usually do. And those are my observations. So let's do the other one. Let's try to just do a regular super saw. Now, there are other waveforms, but I'm just going with a sawtooth to give myself some direction here. So let's kick these back up an octave. We're going to turn the resonance down. We're going to open the filter. We're going to turn the decay and the sustain up. Leave the release where it is. I'm going to actually soften the attack here on the amp. Oh, and I want to make this polyphonic. Ooh, that's hot. Okay. Okay, so but you see what I mean? Like that high end. It's not brittle, but it's close. It's riding the edge there for my ears. That's a little easier to deal with. Okay, let's add some reverb. The reverb in this is really interesting. I find that it sounds more like an extension of the release on the envelope than a reverb. Oh, yeah. Is the delay on? No, the delay's not on. Right? Like the release. But it's very clean. In this, it doesn't impart a character into it. So because of that, it doesn't necessarily sound like I'm in a room. But it's not a bad thing, just an observation. But, you know, what else do we have here? So there's a lot more in here. Reverb, there's chorus that we've been using, there's delay. Yeah, it's at the stuff, I don't know. This is what I would say about DRC. I feel like Imaginando definitely has a personality. And there's a playground that they are playing in that is their own. This has a unique tone to it that is different than a Minimoog or some of the other apps that I have, Xeon maybe, but I like that it does have its own personality. And as much as I don't resonate with the clean and clear display aesthetic, I appreciate that there's nothing hidden. Everything's right on the screen. There's no hidden menus. You don't have to dig for anything. And so for that, I would say this is something that would be good to learn on maybe. But I really enjoyed playing with the synth much more than I did the first time that I messed with it. Oh, and my last thing, my favorite thing here, if you go to settings, you can change the color, and I love it when they do that. So this is the default, the blue, but you can have it be green or red or darker blue, or I like the purple. It's my Minneapolis synth. So thank you very much, Imaginando. This was a blast to play with, and I really enjoyed it. And so, hey, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to know more. And make sure you go to daveypoo.bandcamp.com. There's 9 whole albums up there, and they're all free, so go download them and listen to them to your heart's content. Better they live in your ear holes than on my hard drive. So, hey, if you want to check me out on Facebook, you can do that there, and I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and you can pay me on Patreon if you want to support this and do more things like this. Thanks for bearing with the funkiness of the mirror and all this. The iPad decided it wasn't going to screen record today, so we had to go with Plan B. So thanks again, Imaginando, and I'll see you guys next time. Baby, later.